Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? This is Joe Figueroa with another video in our series, Anatomy of a Dance, where I break down social dancing count for count, pointing out all the things that dancers do. This week's video is going to examine the dancing and break down some incredible movements coming out of Singapore by Tze Yi Wee. A three pieces of cool, if you will. So what are you waiting for? Here's your chance to subscribe and ring the bell, because we're starting right now. Last week I was talking with a subscriber in Singapore and asked him about Singapore salsa. He mentioned the name of this guy, Tze Yi, the director of Ziggy Feet Dance Studio in Singapore. So I looked him up and I gotta tell you, I'm not easily impressed, but I was with him. This guy dances and teaches salsa, bachata, and West Coast swing. I'm disappointed that I didn't know about him before. A man after my own heart, he's all about social dance. The young lady he is with in this particular dance is Brenda Liew, who I had the pleasure of meeting and dancing with in Beijing last year. There's a lot to unpack here, so expect a part 2 of this breakdown down the line. I'm going to start with the spinning technique by both, his lead and her follow. Z is about to lead Brenda into a triple spin, in a form I refer to as a crescent turn, using his right and her left. Now the first two spins will be above the head while the third will be down at the waistline. Follows, notice how Brenda spots during her spins and turns. Flawless technique, which is why she spins so well. Look at how her head is not locked on her shoulders. In fact, her head is the last thing to go in the spin, but the first thing to arrive. This is spotting. You ever see ballet dancers doing rapid spins or turns, and it looks like their head is sitting still the entire time? This is the technique they are employing. Now what's Z's role in this? He uses his entire arm to lead the spins, not just his fingertips. The power comes from his shoulders on down. He also leads from above, as if he is a marionettist and she is the marionette. Here's a better example of Z leading from above with his entire arm and Brenda spotting. Now, as I said in this example, the first two are high while the third is low. In order to do this, Z first signals for the spin using his left hand to her right, swinging it in the standard form for a right hand turn, while at the same time connecting his right hand with her left up high. You've all learned this. I've spoken in previous videos about the monkey mentality. This is it, not letting go of one branch till you get a grip on the next one. He then presses into her right hand, almost like he's tossing it away. This acts as a launch point for Brenda, indicating that this will be multiple spins. She may not anticipate 3. She just knows that it's going to likely be more than one. I also like to lead from both sides and use one hand as a launch point, very similar to this. Here's where it gets interesting. The first spin goes over her head. As soon as she completes the first, Z brings the hand downward in a scooping motion, using his wrist, down to her waistline and right back up again. Not to say that the scooping motion is necessary. Here it's mainly for look. I think of it as a slight form of conditioning, getting her used to the feel of the hand going to the low line. But it works well. The hands are back up now, and the second spin begins. Once she is through, Z aims the hand downward again, this time turning the wrist slightly, causing her arm to wrap behind her back, giving us the third spin. This example is a clinic on leading and following multiple spins, both high and low. And these techniques happen throughout the dance. Hey look, there's a cameo from Terry. From there, Z back breaks along with Brenda to create a kind of cumbia movement, which takes me into the next thing I wanted to point out. The cumbia is a very basic step, but Z uses it in such an interesting way. He brings a style to it that makes it so much fun. It just brings so many cool ideas for such a basic movement. It starts off the way any would. Both dancers back break. In this case, on 6. If you're dancing on 1, it would be on 1. Because of the previous movement, Z has Brenda's hand behind her back, asks for her right hand high, which is a position sometimes referred to as a 70. The tension in that handhold, coupled with the back break, causes a stretch effect and change in direction for the follow, and can also for the lead, should they choose, which he does. Now Z is where Brenda was and vice versa. I tell students this in class. The stretch effect should happen on the way in and on the way out. Z and Brenda display that here, both breaking back on 2. Leads take this moment to notice Z's quick but clear high and low lead, his right high and left low toward the middle. This is providing good lead and being informative. He's letting Brenda know that his intention is to bring her back down the line to her original position, despite the fact that he is still going to be there. She travels back with full confidence as Z raises that right hand over her head and passes it to her right shoulder, allowing for her back break on 6 to complete the movement and begin the next one. He has so many versions of this. Love it, stealing it, teaching it more in class this way. Okay, the last one is my favorite. Again, it's more about the style of it. The movement is a double inside turn to check, with a double right hand spin out of it. Most falsettos have led or followed something like this, but this just looks so good. Tze and Brenda get to left's high and right's low handhold. Tze then begins an inside turn for Brenda. See this little bounce of the arms from low to high? That helped indicate to Brenda that this would be more than one turn. There's the first one. On the second one, Tze quickly raises what would have been the left hands, wrapping low at her middle, up over her head. Look at how he brought his arm up at her shoulder, at the same time extending his right hand down and to the right in order to straighten her right arm. This braces Brenda, almost locking her in place for just that split second while he raises his left hand over her head and offers a hair comb or caress before releasing the left. That alone is cool, but here's my favorite part. He lets the left hand go and immediately raises the right hand up from the low position. Now he could have just raised it up in front of his face and let it double, but no! He's so close to her that he can afford to tilt to his right just slightly, pass the hands over his head first to create an even larger circle, and then over her head. This happened during 6, 7, and 1, the preparation. Brenda has already begun to follow the hand and started to turn to her right to face Tze. Once Tze has passed the hands over her head, he swings it downward again, a scooping motion similar to what we saw in the first movement, using that momentum to create a second spin for her, and at the same time a spin to the left for him. I know that this was just coincidence, but how cool is it that their bodies are moving completely in time with each other, like dancing with your reflection in a mirror. Even their steps are the same. Once full circle, Tze passes the right hand over her head for another caress, intertwines her left with his right to pose, and body movement to go with the music. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a part 2 to this. That's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This content is for you to benefit from, so any feedback that you can give me will be greatly appreciated. Comments, likes, and even dislikes will help me to provide you with the best content that I can, so do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, keep dancing.